Welcome back to English is Easy with Connor. I'm sitting in my home office. It's a cold, dark, rainy night here in the city where I live, and it's also the night before Halloween. So I thought we would do something special tonight, guys. What we're going to be doing is listening to a scary story. This is a true story. It's called The Midnight Man. Okay? And this story was uploaded to YouTube by a storyteller named Mr. Ballin. And I would highly recommend you guys check out his channel if you haven't done so already. He's a very popular YouTuber, and his specialty, the thing he does best, is tell scary stories. He's a very, very good storyteller. So here's the plan for today. I'm really excited for this video. I've got my mug of steaming hot cinnamon tea. I've got my notes here ready to go. And guys, what we're going to do is improve our English by listening to this short story, this short and scary story from Mr. Ballin. And as we go along, I'm going to be taking notes to make sure we're all on the same page, to make sure you don't get lost, to make sure you're not confused, right? Really quickly, before we jump in, I just want to say that my channel members are going to get a PDF for this video. And if you guys could take 1 second, quickly like the video, leave me a comment, 2 comments, 3 comments, the more the merrier. That really, really helps my channel with the YouTube algorithm. With all that being said, let's jump in to this scary story.
One night in the summer of 1904, a young woman named Anna Gray was laying in her bed in her second-story room in a bed and breakfast in Chicago, Illinois.
Okay, there are a lot of details already. It's the summer of 1904, right? There's a girl named Anna. Hey, that's my sister's name, by the way. And Anna is laying in her room in a bed and breakfast, kind of like a cute little hotel where you can spend the night and have breakfast served to you in the morning, right? And where is she? Did you guys catch that? This is going to be really good listening comprehension practice. I'm going to be talking with you throughout the video and asking you questions. Did anybody catch or hear what city she lives in, or is staying in, at least? Chicago, right? So it's summertime, 1904, in Chicago, in a bed and breakfast, okay? So let's keep listening.
She couldn't sleep. She couldn't really tell why she couldn't sleep, but her stomach was kind of upset from the mince pie she had eaten earlier, and it was kind of, her stomach was rumbling around, and so maybe that was why. And also, the air in the room was very stuffy, there wasn't any circulation, and so she's just laying in silence as her stomach is growling, and it was very uncomfortable. And so
Okay, so Anna is laying there in this room in the bed and breakfast, right? And she's feeling uncomfortable. Her stomach is not feeling well. He said that her stomach is rumbling around. Now, I haven't really heard that expression before, but usually we say your stomach is gurgling, your stomach is rumbling, right? Maybe it's a bit upset, right? An upset stomach. Now, he also mentions maybe another reason she felt uncomfortable was because the room was stuffy. Stuffy. What does that mean? That means it feels like there's no fresh air in the room, like the circulation is not good. The air circulation, meaning the movement of air about the room, around the room, in the room, is not very good.
Eventually, Anna felt so frustrated that she was not able to sleep that finally she just threw the covers off, hopped out of her bed, and walked over to the window, and she opened it up to let in some fresh air. And
Okay, so she's really frustrated that she can't sleep, right? Maybe she's tossing and turning, back and forth, in bed, flipping, flopping, tossing, turning, rolling back and forth. She can't sleep. The room feels really stuffy. There's no circulation, no fresh air. Her stomach is upset. It's rumbling, right? So she feels incredibly frustrated. Like she can't get what she wants, right? That's frustrated. And what she wants is to sleep. So she gets out of bed, and he says that she makes her way over to the window, right?
even though, her stomach still felt pretty upset, having the fresh air hit her and sort of circulate
Fresh
through the
air.
room did, even if it was just by a small percentage, make her feel a little bit better. And now
So she got some fresh air into the room, and even if it was just a small percentage, just a little bit, a small percentage, like maybe, she feels 5% better, she feels maybe 10% better. It's not a huge improvement, but she feels better by a small percentage, right? With that fresh air circulating in the
that
room.
she was standing up near the window and sort of realizing how late it was, she suddenly did feel sort of tired. And she was like, great, I'll leave the window open and I'll go back to sleep. So she walked back to her bed, laid down, pulled the covers up over her, and sure enough, just a couple minutes later, she had fallen asleep. But several hours later, Anna suddenly woke up. She's laying in her bed, her eyes shoot open, and for a second as she's laying there, she can't quite remember where she is. She's confused, disoriented, and then she remembers, oh yeah, I'm in that bed and breakfast, I'm in Chicago, okay, I'm going home tomorrow, okay. But as she's laying there, sort of putting together what's happening, she just has this weird feeling that something just feels off in the room. She can't quite place it, but there's something wrong here. And so instinctively, Anna sits up in her bed.
Okay. There's a lot of terrific colloquial spoken language in not Mr. Beast's, Mr. Ballen's videos, right? So I want to talk about that for a second. She's feeling a little bit better after going to the open window and getting some fresh air, breathing in some fresh air, right? And so she actually does manage to go to bed and fall asleep. But then a few hours later, her eyes shoot open, kind of explosively. They come open really fast, right? Her eyes open wide. They shoot open. She feels a little disoriented. Great word. Basically just means confused. And here's a great expression here. She's trying to put together what's happening. Kind of like it's a puzzle, right? And there are pieces of the puzzle. She's trying to put those pieces together, but she knows that something feels off. If something feels off, that means it doesn't feel quite right. Like something feels wrong, right? Ooh, interesting. Let's keep going.
She kind of just surveys this small room that she's in. And at first, everything seems totally in order. There's nothing odd here at all. It's just a late night inside of a bed and breakfast. It's still, it's quiet. There's nothing going on here. But then as she scans the room one more time, her eyes stop on the open window because now there is a man sitting on the windowsill looking into the room right at her.
Oh my gosh. I knew this was going to be fun. Guys, this is a true story too. This is a real story. Oh my God. Okay. And I haven't heard this yet. This is the first time I'm hearing this. Really creepy already, right? Okay, so she's looking around the room, surveying the room. We could also say she's taking in the room, right? She's looking around, basically. She's scanning the room. We could also say she's scanning the room, looking around, and everything seems totally in order. Basically, that means everything seems the way it's supposed to seem. Nothing seems out of the ordinary, right? Nothing seems out of the ordinary. Everything seems totally fine until her eyes land on the windowsill, the open window, right? She's scanning, 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 surveying, 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 and then her eyes fall on the window. We could say her eyes fall on the window, her eyes land on the window, her eyes reach the window, she looks at the window. Guys, what does she see? She sees a figure, a man, someone sitting there on the windowsill with the window open. Maybe he climbed into the room. She's on the second floor, right? I think he said the second story of the building. Oh my God. Let's keep listening.
Unflinching, just staring right at her. And Anna, in an instant, is looking at the sky and a million thoughts go through her head. She's thinking, oh my God, he's here to hurt me. He must have climbed up and he's about to come in here and attack me. Like, what's going on here? She doesn't know if she's dreaming. She's just completely panicked. And unlike a lot of people who in this situation might freeze completely or scream and try to hide or run away, Anna's fight or flight response was to fight. And so it was almost like in a fraction of a second, she had leapt out of the bed.
Oh, okay. So she is looking at this guy, right? This stranger in her room. And Mr. Ballin, the storyteller here, is telling us that in this situation, a lot of people would react by running. Okay. We have this thing in English called the fight or flight response. I'm curious how you guys say this in your native language, because this is a very human thing. Everyone has this in their language. And basically, it's something that happens to people when they are met with a life-threatening situation. If they are in a very scary situation, your fight or flight response will kick in, right? For example, you see a hungry lion running at you, okay? Your fight or flight kicks in. It's like your brain is not really thinking anymore. Your body is doing the thinking for you without your brain. It's acting instinctively from instinct, right? And there are two things that happen. You either fight or flight, means run away, right? And this is a really interesting part of the story. Because even though she feels panicked, like nervous, anxious, afraid, scared, most people would choose flight. Their body would just take them away from the situation and they would run away from the stranger in their room, right? Well, not Anna. She chooses fight and she leaps at this stranger. She leaps at him, jumps out of bed. Right? A leap is like a powerful jump. So she leaps at this stranger. What's going to happen next?
To confront this man, this stranger in her room. But the man, as soon as she jumped up, he didn't budge. He's just sitting there staring at her. And then almost like delicately, he leaned backwards and fell out the window. And
Ooh, okay, so she's leapt out of bed. She's going to confront him, right? Basically meaning she's going to challenge him, fight him, deal with him head on, right? She's going to confront him, but he doesn't budge. This is a great expression. If you don't budge, or maybe we can say you don't flinch, that means you don't move at all, right? If somebody leapt at you, they jumped at you, most people would go, ooh, that's a flinch. Ooh, if you jump back a little bit. That's a flinch, right? Budge just means move a little bit. Like, I'm going to budge my microphone a little bit. Look at that. I'm budging it back and forth. Maybe I tried to move my microphone, but it's fixed in place. It's from our last video. Fixed in place, and it won't budge. It won't budge, or it doesn't budge. Doesn't want to budge, right? Okay. So then this guy, this stranger, he doesn't flinch. He doesn't budge. He just kind of delicately leans back and he falls backwards out the window, almost gracefully, almost carefully, right? That's what delicately means. If you pick something up delicately, I'm going to pick up my watch very delicately. I don't want to break it, right? So I'm going to be slow and careful. I'm going to set it down delicately in a slow, careful way. So in that way, this guy tumbles backwards. Well, maybe tumbles isn't a good word. Tumbles is a little bit clumsy. Like maybe I'm walking, I trip, I tumble down onto the ground. He falls gracefully, right? So we maybe shouldn't say he tumbles, but he falls backwards out of the open window. And what happens next? Let's listen.
Now Anna's thinking, oh my God, is he okay? She doesn't know who he is, but it's a serious fall. They're on the second floor. And so she runs to the window, looking out, expecting to see this guy, with a broken neck down on the ground. But she looks down and there's nobody there. The window's wide open. She left it open before. And so she's kind of looking around to make sure, did he really fall out the window? Did he come into the room? But no, she's all alone in her room. And so she's looking down to see if maybe he kind of, ran up against the side of the house and maybe he's going to show himself, but there's nobody. And then at some point she notices there's this long, dark car that's parked out on the street underneath the street light. And she couldn't remember if that car had been parked there the whole time. It seemed sort of out of place, but she just couldn't remember. And so she's looking at this vehicle and she realizes there's somebody in the car. And as she's staring at the car, the driver begins to move. They sort of position their bodies down low and they look up at Anna. And Anna realizes it's the same guy who was just sitting in her windowsill and fell out the window a second ago.
Okay, so this guy, what a crazy story. He fell backwards out of the window. It looked like a really serious fall. A serious fall, looked like he could have gotten seriously hurt, right? Seriously. What's a different way to say that? We could say seriously hurt. Seriously starts with an I. Let's see if you guys can guess it. Injured, right? Seriously injured. The window was wide open, and so he fell backwards out of the window. And she's looking down. She's looking around for him. She can't see him anywhere. Nothing looks out of place at first glance. Basically meaning everything appears normal, right? At first glance, at a look, at first, everything seems fine, seems normal. But then she notices, right? She notices a long, dark car. And who is driving that car? Who is in the driver's seat? Who is in the driver's seat? Looks like the same man, right? The same guy who she had just seen moments before, just moments before, right? Just moments before, she had seen that same guy sitting on the windowsill in her room, right?
In this car. And so Anna, she's just frozen looking at this guy, wondering how could this be happening? Is this a nightmare? Is this real? She doesn't know. But as she's looking, this guy who's looking up at her, he extends his hand out the driver's side window and begins beckoning to Anna, telling her,
Ooh, I'm scared.
to come down and get in the car with him. And so,
oh, this is good, you guys. He extends his hand and he begins beckoning her. Okay, if you extend something, then you stick it out, right? So basically, his hand comes out of the car. Did he say window? Out of the car window, and begins to do this, like, come here, come here. He's beckoning her, telling her to come over, beckoning. If you beckon someone, you make a gesture, you use your hand to try to get them to come over to you, right? What's going to happen next?
Anna, she's seeing this, and she's also realizing the car he is in is a hearse. And so she is just beyond terrified, and instinctively she just jumps back, slams the window, and sort of just pretends like this can't be happening. Like this.
Okay. One extra detail here. Here's a great word to know, guys. The car, remember they mentioned this long, dark car that was parked outside that this stranger is driving? It's not just any car. It's a hearse. What's a hearse? It's a kind of car used to transport coffins. Coffins. And what's a coffin? There's a dead body inside, right? So maybe to or from a funeral home, right? You might see a hearse driving to or from a funeral home, and maybe, just maybe, there could be a dead body inside that car.
It's not real. But then after a couple of seconds, she's thinking, I gotta make sure I know where this guy is, where he's gonna go next. And so she goes right back to the window to see what he's doing. But now the hearse, the man, they're gone. And so Anna remained at this window for quite a while, just looking out the window, just making sure this guy really was gone. Because again, she just doesn't know, like, was this real? Am I imagining things? Am I going
wants to
crazy?
make sure.
Was this a nightmare?
Am I going crazy?
Like, she doesn't know. And so she's just standing there waiting, watching, but you know, this guy doesn't reappear, the hearse doesn't reappear. And so eventually she crawls back in bed, and after what felt like forever, she drifted off into a fairly light sleep. And
would you guys be able to go back to sleep after an experience like this? I would be wide awake, right? I would be terrified. There's no way I'd be able to go back to bed. I wouldn't get a wink of sleep. What does that mean? I wouldn't get a wink of sleep. I wouldn't get a wink of shut-eye. Just means I wouldn't get a single second of sleep. I wouldn't sleep at all. All right, so yeah, what's going on? Anna, she was watching this hearse, this long, dark funeral car outside the window, but then suddenly the car vanished. The man inside of the car who had just been in her room vanished as well. And she decides, I guess I'm just going to go back to bed and try and get some sleep. Now, once again, if it were me, I would be out of luck. There's no way I'd be able to go back to bed. I would be totally wired. What does that mean? Totally wired. Sometimes we use this when we're talking about, you've had a lot of caffeine, right? I had 2 cups of coffee this morning, 3 cups of coffee. I'm totally wired. Just means you have a lot of energy, you're awake. But I think we can use it in this situation too, because if it were me, I would be sitting there completely wired, unable to go back to bed. How about you guys? Let me know in the comments.
And before long, she opened her eyes again, and sunlight had filled the room. She had survived the night. And
Okay,
so now,
it's the next day.
feeling the comfort and safety of light in the room and knowing that it's a new day, she told herself, wow, like, that was crazy, that was terrifying, that had to have been just a particularly vivid nightmare. Like, there's
Really good. That she's trying to reason with herself, right? She's trying to make sense of this weird situation, because right now it seems really inexplicable. great word to know, seems really inexplicable, right? Like this weird thing happened. It can't be explained. So it's inexplicable, cannot be explained, right? She's trying to make sense of this weird situation.
No other reasonable explanation for this. It had to be a nightmare. So,
It had to have been a vivid nightmare. What's vivid? Just seems really lifelike. Seems really lifelike. Seems real, right? So she's telling herself, you know what? Man, that it seemed real. It seemed really vivid, but maybe it was just a nightmare, right?
Anna got out of bed, convinced she was just fine, that nothing strange has happened here at all. She got herself together and she left the bed and breakfast and she headed out to this brand new department store that had just opened up in Chicago. She wanted to go and have a nice day of shopping. And so
Okay, so she managed to get herself together. Good expression. Get herself together. Just basically means compose herself, or sometimes we say pull yourself together. You know, if you're feeling a bit frazzled, if you're feeling a bit all over the place, if you're feeling a bit scattered, these are all different ways of saying the same thing. Basically meaning you do not feel good. You feel like your mind is really messed up. Maybe you're a little confused, you're a little anxious. So this is how she was feeling, right? She was feeling frazzled, all over the place, scattered, like, still kind of thinking about the scary night before. But she managed to get herself together. She managed to compose herself. She managed to pull herself together, we could also say. And she headed out. Do you guys know this expression? To head out, to leave. And she's going to a department store. You guys ever been to a department store where every floor is something different? Maybe you can shop for furniture on the second floor, shop for clothes on the third floor. There's candy on the fourth floor, stuff like that. We call that a department store. Okay, so what's going to happen next?
Anna gets to this department store and it's so vibrant and it's bustling with people and there's 4 floors of all this incredible stuff that they're selling. And for the next several hours, Anna just has a great time walking all around, picking out things she likes, and just basically enjoying shopping.
Vibrant and bustling, these two words are really similar. Really similar. They both mean that there is a lot of energy in something. There's a lot of life. There's a lot of activity. We usually describe like a city or a scene or a place as being vibrant, as being bustling. For example, maybe you go to a market, right? And there are a lot of people, lots of things are being bought and sold. There are lots of conversations going on, lots of people talking. There are cars driving around. There is a lot happening, right? This market is really full of energy, full of life, full of activity. So we can say it's a vibrant market. It's a bustling market. Okay, so she's out at this vibrant, bustling department store, enjoying herself, having a good time shopping.
Eventually, when she was up on the 4th floor, after she had purchased all the things she was going to buy, she decided it was time to leave. Now, by this point, she had basically completely forgotten about, whatever happened the night before. The sky, the hearse, all of it. It was completely out of her mind. She is back.
Okay, eventually she was done shopping, ready to leave. This stuff from the night before, this vivid nightmare, like a bad dream, right? Of the hearse and the stranger in her room. She has completely forgotten about this.
Back to normal. And so she makes her way over to the elevator to go down to the 1st floor. And so she hits the button and she's waiting and waiting. And then eventually she hears a noise, a dinging sound, and the doors open up And
Okay.
there's loads of people on this elevator car. It is packed. And
Loads.
so, like
Lots
most
of
of us
people.
would do in this situation, Anna kind of waved them off and said, I'll take the next one. And she's
I'll take the
expecting
next
that,
one.
the doors will close and these folks will go down. And, when it comes back up, she'll get on. And that's that. This is
Okay, good. And that's that. So she goes over to grab the elevator, to get the elevator, to take the elevator down back to the first floor, right? The doors of the elevator come open. She sees that there are loads of people inside, lots of people. In other words, the elevator is packed, right? Super crowded. And she decides, okay, I'm not going to take this elevator. I'll wait for the next one. And that will be that. That will be that. What does that mean? Just means case closed. Case closed. That's all there is to it. That will be the end of that. And I won't have to worry about it anymore. Problem solved, basically. Problem solved, okay?
not a big deal at all. She's not even
Not a big
thinking
deal.
about it. Just go ahead. But the doors don't close. And instead, as she's kind of, not really looking over in their direction, she hears this voice come out of the elevator car. And it's this kind of rude tone. It's a man's voice. And he calls out, one more, like demanding that Anna get in there. Like, what are you doing? You're holding up the car. And
Okay, so a voice calls out from inside the elevator saying, one more. It's a very rude tone, right? The tone of voice, the feeling in the way he said that was very rude. It was very demanding. Do you guys know this word, demanding? Like you're sort of ordering people around, like, I'm the boss of you. You need to do this. You need to do it right now. We call that being demanding, right? So she was going to wait for the next elevator, but someone from inside is being very demanding and with a rude tone tells her, come on, one more, one more. I've got a bad feeling about this.
Anna was kind of taken aback by whoever was kind of barking this order at her. And she turned around and she looked into the elevator car and she couldn't really tell where the voice was coming from. But then eventually she noticed it was coming from the guy who operated the elevator car. The elevator was manual. There was somebody who literally moved the car up and down. And she kind of didn't see the guy's face at first, but eventually, when the guy kind of poked his head through and looked at her, confirming that, yeah, I'm talking to you, get in the car, she realized the elevator car operator was the man in the hearse that she had seen in her windowsill. It was the same guy.
Whoa. Okay, so the elevator operator, okay? If you operate a piece of machinery, then you are making it work. You are making it go, right? The elevator operator is the same guy that she saw the previous night, the night before, the guy from the window, the guy from the hearse. So she was really taken aback by his barking these orders at her. Sometimes if someone is yelling or being loud, they have this rude or demanding tone, we can say that they are barking, kind of like a dog barks, right? If I say, get over here, come here, in a very loud way, in a rude way, that's like me barking at someone. So when he did this, she was taken aback, kind of an old expression, meaning a little bit surprised. She was surprised by this, right? Okay. Oh my God, you guys, it's the same guy from the night before. The elevator operator, the guy operating the elevator, is the same person.
And so Anna is so horrified, she gasped out loud and just was like,
Gasp.
no, I'm not going in there, no. And so all the folks that are in the elevator car, they do not know what's going on. And they're kind of looking around like, what's happening here? And the car operator continues to look out at Anna for a second. Then he just kind of scoffs at her like, fine. Then the doors close and the elevator disappears. And for
Okay, so she doesn't end up going in the elevator. She says, no, get away from me. I know who you are. I've seen you, right? So She sees him, she gasps, she says no, and then he just kind of scoffs at her. This is a great word to know, scoffs. It's kind of a mean little laugh like this. Kind of scoffs at her, like, really? Really? Okay. And then he closes the doors. The elevator leaves.
Moment, Anna's telling herself, like, what is going on? That can't be the same guy. It's just going to be a coincidence, right? But as she's having these thoughts, these crazy thoughts, trying to rationalize something that's not rational, she suddenly heard this loud, metallic, crunching sound inside of the elevator shaft, followed by what was obviously people screaming. It would turn out that elevator car that she nearly got into but didn't because of her fear of this guy that she was seeing again, the same guy from her bedroom the night before, that elevator car, as it began its descent, it malfunctioned and fell 4 stories, killing 2 people on board. Now, unfortunately, we don't really know much more about what ultimately happened with the elevator operator, if they ever confirmed without a doubt that, that guy is the same one Anna saw the night before, or if he even really was on the elevator car. Like, we don't know that. But what we do know is Anna did speak to reporters, and they did widely publish the story. And that is how we know about it.
Ooh, okay. So, guys, what happened at the end of this story? Did you catch that? Did you understand? Did you catch that? She thinks, surely this must just be a coincidence. A coincidence, right? Like, maybe they just look like the same person. It can't be the same person. She's trying to rationalize this crazy situation. If you rationalize something, you make it make sense. Make it make sense. I need to rationalize this situation that doesn't make sense. We can also say I need to make sense out of a situation. Make sense of a situation, make sense out of a situation. Okay? So what happens to the elevator car when it begins its descent? When it starts to go down? It malfunctioned, right? What is malfunctioned? We can use malfunctioned to describe a machine that stops working properly, right? Maybe you're driving your car, the brakes malfunction, you're stepping on the brakes, but nothing is happening, it's not working, the brakes malfunctioned. In this case, the elevator malfunctioned, and it went plummeting downwards, right? Plummeting down. That means dropping quickly, plummeting, right? Like a plane plummeting through the sky, plummeting down, and crashes on the first floor, killing 2 people. Apparently, this is a real story. And as we heard him say at the end of the video here, that woman, Anna, her story was never 100% confirmed, but it was widely published. Widely published. She was interviewed, and her account of what happened, her side of the story, in other words, was widely published. So it appeared in a lot of different newspapers, maybe across the country, right? So who knows the truth of what really happened with that stranger in her room and the elevator? Who was he really? What do you guys think? Did she really see him sitting there in her room that night on the windowsill? Did she really see that hearse, or was it all in her mind? Was she making it all up? Type I believe her or I don't believe her down in the comment section. Guys, I really enjoy making these listening practice videos, and once again, channel members are going to get a big, beefy PDF of this story with the full story and vocabulary and a self-study quiz. If you want to become a channel member, it's the only thing I will ever sell you, and it's only $1. dollar. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. I certainly enjoyed recording it. That was pretty scary. And I hope you have a wonderful Halloween if you celebrate it. All right. I'll see you guys next time.